25th at 7:30 p.m. Ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, you know Milwaukee is going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Things that both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
A new week starts right here, right now, bright and early live on this Monday morning on the Early Line on SportsGrid. That's all across the SportsGrid network. It includes sportsgrid.com/watch, where you can find your favorite destination to consume everything all across the grid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. Glad to be back. We are together live here for the next 3 hours up until 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Bright and early DRS on a Monday morning to recap a championship weekend and a championship Sunday. A new NBA champion has been crowned. The Oklahoma City Thunder bring a title back to OKC for the first time in 17 years as a franchise in that city in an epic Game 7, of course, that was marred by an early injury to a superstar in Tyrese Halliburton on the other side for the Pacers. How Game 7 played out, how the Thunder cut down the nets as an NBA title winner, and all of that here over these 3 hours, reacting to the end of an NBA campaign on this Monday on the Early Line. A champion crowned in the College World Series on the college baseball diamond as well. A full weekend around MLB. And DRS, it's draft week in the NBA. The early offseason is now here, and draft week begins with a blockbuster deal. Kevin Durant has a new home. All of that and oh so much more over these 3 hours up until 11 a.m. Eastern.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. And Ben, what he said, did you get the T-shirt that said from Rome and all the way back home now to NYC? And away we go in an important week here because chapters have closed, Ben. The NHL, fantastic. Game 6, done deal. Done. The NBA, fantastic. Game number 7, done deal. We are now officially in the summer months, which means next month is NFL/college football get ready season, but a lot of stuff to go over. Major League Baseball, the hot conditions, it's outrageously hot and humid here in the Northeast, so get ready for that one. But a lot of interesting things to talk about, which includes injuries that hurt in game number 7 and will hurt into next season as well.
Donnie, I am proud to report, however, with all of the air conditioning issues that we had here in our New York studios before I departed to Italy. By the way, very warm over there as well. The AC is booming. We are good. We are comfortable on this Monday morning on the Early Line. And I did not expect to come back from Italia, DRS, and have a Game 7 of the NBA Finals to break down and recap with you. But that's what we did have in front of us on a Sunday evening inside the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. The Thunder hoping for its first NBA championship as a franchise in their 17 years in Oklahoma City. Indiana hoping for its first NBA title, a Larry O'Brien trophy in their 49 years as a National Basketball Association franchise as well. And in Game 7, as a 7-point home favorite, Oklahoma City prevails, 103-91. The Thunder, an NBA champion for the first time in 17 years in Oklahoma City, down by 1 at the break against a resilient Pacers side. OKC stormed all the way through in that third quarter, DRS, to hoist that Larry O'Brien trophy high up into the OKC summer night.
34-20 in that third quarter. That's where the Thunder pulled ahead and stayed ahead there with a double-digit winner in the NBA Finals. And again, we're going to get to so much talk about the Tyrese Halliburton injury. Yeah. He was sensational early. The threes were going down. That was the energy jolt that you needed to hold off that home crowd, but it just wasn't enough. It's hard to beat really good basketball teams on their home court when you yourself are not full strength here. But my goodness, what a Pacers run from the regular season into the postseason, into the NBA Finals, getting to game number 7. Nothing to be ashamed of there. But the Thunder, as we always thought, no matter what the score in the series was, they probably were going to win this. And you fight all season long for game number 7 in your own building, and it paid dividends for the Thunder, who are now the champions.
It's a great point, DRS. Oklahoma City throughout this magical postseason run that culminates with a championship for this young core and, frankly, this young franchise during their OKC days. 17 years now, a Larry O'Brien trophy, 68 wins in the regular season, the most around the NBA. To earn that home court advantage, they were 11-2 at home throughout the playoffs, 10-3 against the spread, booked as at least a 5.5-point favorite in every single home game. And that pays off with a championship. But, of course, early on in Game 7, a large what-if marred by an injury and a significant one to Tyrese Halliburton. Around the 5-minute mark in the opening quarter, after he started red hot from the floor, Tyrese Halliburton crashes down to the hardwood with an apparent Achilles injury. No official word from Indiana, DRS, but his father, John Halliburton, did tell the ESPN broadcast last night they believe it is an Achilles injury. Not only was Tyrese Halliburton magical in this playoff run, helping the Pacers to this point, of course, he missed the remainder of Game 7 and more than likely will miss a majority, if not all, of the 2025-26 NBA season.
We've seen this before in the past, and maybe now where you take a look at, I always joke about like the hamstring injury. The athletes don't understand how serious that could be, and you can re-injure that right away. Now, how are we going to look at these calf injuries over the next couple of years, particularly in the NBA, where it's not an epidemic because there's a lot of players and it's not a ton of Achilles injuries, but they all stem from, hey, my calf is a little bit achy. Let me fight through it. Boom, there goes your Achilles. You can get over a calf injury in a couple weeks. You can't get over an Achilles for at least 1 full year, and that's what's happening now. Devastating because this is the biggest moment of your life, game number 7 of the NBA Finals, and you're balling right away out of the gate in the first 7 minutes. And for that to happen here, but also credit the Pacers. Could have just folded up the shop here. They played well throughout the first quarter, but just couldn't do much in the second half.
They rode that momentum playing for Hallie in the first half. They had a 1-point lead at the break. And Donnie, to your point, Halliburton working for moments like he was excelling in Game 7, hit 3 triples in the opening 5 minutes of the game. A very tough and devastating blow. It brings back the memory of Kevin Durant in the 2019 NBA Finals. Speaking of KD, he was traded yesterday in a blockbuster deal. We expected Durant to be shipped somewhere this summer. He has a new home. It is Houston. In return to Phoenix, the Suns get Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and the 10th overall pick on a Wednesday night in the 2025 NBA draft, as well as 5 second-rounders. The 36-year-old Kevin Durant, after 17 seasons in the NBA, will now be a Houston Rocket.
Yep, in 2 more years, he'll be shipped out of there somewhere else, probably trying to ring chase at that point here. I don't love the move for Houston. They're a young basketball team. Now they're not so young anymore. But also, if you are Phoenix, hey, Devin Booker, you should be picking up your phone as well, saying, get me out of town. That complete rebuild must happen. The common denominator, I guess, on them not winning at all is they've always had Devin Booker, and they never win with him. So there you go. They won't win again.
Yeah, not a great scene, DRS, in the Valley, to say the least. Championship Sunday as well in Omaha, Nebraska, in a wild second game of the College World Series Finals LSU prevails. Their second national championship in the last 3 years. The Bayou Bengals win national championship number 8, the second most in the history of college baseball. All 8 coming since their first in 1991.
It's pretty impressive how dominant LSU has been in baseball here since I saw USC has 12 championships, but now LSU has 8, and they're closing fast. No sign of decline from them. Really good performance again against a red-hot Coastal Carolina team.
They went perfect in Omaha. That is how good LSU was. Donnie's Philadelphia Phillies win the rubber match of the weekend against divisional foes, the New York Mets. The Amazing snapped a 7-game slide on Saturday. Philadelphia wins the weekend set 7-1 in the finale last night.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, the Mets had won the NL East. Now they're not even in first place in the NL East. And keep in mind, Bryce Harper isn't even back in the lineup yet. And also, the Philadelphia Phillies, this is an embarrassment of rotation. Everybody's looking for starting pitch, and the Phillies we got too much of it, man. Just too much.
Yeah, DRS feeling good. How about a comeback yesterday for Captain America? Keegan Bradley, the Ryder Cup captain for Team USA. Birdies the 18th at the Travelers as Tommy Fleetwood stumbles down the stretch again to cough up the opportunity. Keegan Bradley, a victory in front of the New England home crowd.
By the way, on this too, Tommy Fleetwood never had a PGA Tour victory. I didn't find that out till yesterday.
Nope.
That's amazes me. I thought he would at least have a couple.
159 starts, DRS, on the PGA Tour. Now his 42nd top 10 finish. He had a 3-shot lead entering Sunday. Team USA, the men's national team on the pitch, goes perfect in group play in CONCACAF in the Gold Cup. They beat Haiti yesterday. An NBA Finals recap next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee's going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Things both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 best words in sports, and for the first time since 2016, we could utter them for the NBA Finals. Game 7. Last night in Oklahoma City between the Thunder and this Pacers team. Not expected to be on this stage. Not expected to force a 7th and decisive winner-take-all game of the championship set. And yet that's where Indiana was, inside the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. The Thunder seeking its first NBA championship in 17 years in OKC. Indiana seeking its first ever Larry O'Brien trophy in nearly half a century as an NBA franchise. And early on, DRS, it was a bout, back and forth both ways. But ultimately, in the second half, the Thunder, as Indiana was desperately missing Tyrese Halliburton in Game 7, marred by the early injury in the opening quarter, Oklahoma City prevails. A win of 14 points in the third quarter to ultimately win by 12, 103-91. The Thunder bring an NBA championship for the first time ever to OKC. They cover as a 7-point home favorite in Game 7. A total of 215 and a hook stays well under. The NBA's best team all season long ends on top of the association. The pinnacle as an NBA champion.
Absolutely, and also understand this, 68 wins. This is why you play hard the entire way through to get home court advantage, which rose to the occasion twice in the NBA playoffs for OKC. Denver, game number 7, where was that? Wasn't in elevation, it was in OKC.
Yep.
Winner by OKC. Game number 7, it wasn't in Indiana, where that place would have been buzzing as well. It was in OKC. Winner OKC and an NBA champion here. And you rode the coattails there of SGA all season long. Was he fantastic in that performance yesterday? No. 8 of 27 from the floor, but still got to the free throw line. 11 of 12 there on conversions. 29 total points, a plus 11 there. Been asking for Chet Holmgren to step up. 18 and 8 in a decisive game number 7. You love to see it. A couple guys off the bench with double digits here. But we'd be remiss to say, how did this game play out? It would have been way different to me if Tyrese Halliburton does play the entirety of that game. It wasn't as if like, okay, I'm coming into game number 7. I know my calf hurts. I'm 0 for 7 to start the game in the first quarter. Then I get injured. So, okay, maybe TJ McConnell's going to be best just to play the entire way through. But Tyrese Halliburton's clutch gene was already engaged with dropping multiple long 3-point shots there in the first quarter alone. It's a shame that he got injured because it did change the momentum. But again, I credit Indiana won the second quarter and had the lead at halftime. But you can't ask for like an all-NBA, all-star selection to not be there against a better overall team on the road into game number 7 and expect a victory. Things happen there. It's a shame it did, but OKC was the better team and they won this series.
Two things can be true, DRS, often in life, but certainly in sports. The tenor of the game completely changed as Tyrese Halliburton, with about 5 minutes left in the opening quarter, crumbled to the floor. The replay immediately, you saw the reverberation up his right calf. We all know if you're watching sports, you don't have to be a doctor to understand that's an Achilles injury, and a significant one at that. You can see the emotion on Hallie's face as he was on the floor being tended to by the training staff for Indiana and his teammates. Out for the remainder of the game, and as we fear, more than likely, most, if not all, of the 2025-26 NBA season. His teammates understood it was going to be a huge burden, but this Pacers team that has defied expectation and the odds makers in the entirety of this playoff run had a 1-point lead at the break, DRS, over the Oklahoma City Thunder in OKC. The Pacers, of course, 10 outright wins as an underdog and 17 total games booked as a dog throughout this playoff run, matching the Miami Heat from a few years ago as the most straight-up wins booked as an underdog in a single NBA postseason in history. But also, as I said, two things can live in this dichotomy. The game changed without Tyrese Halliburton, but the best team all season long in the association, the home favorites of 7 points in Game 7, earning the ability to win an NBA championship on their home floor. The Oklahoma City Thunder prevailed, and they will be immortalized. 84 total wins this year. One of 4 NBA teams in a single season that can say that in history of the association. And Donnie, you talked about home court advantage. OKC in this postseason, 11-2 straight up at home, 10-3 against the spread, booked as at least a 7-point favorite in all 13 home games throughout this playoff run that ends with an NBA championship in Game 7.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you fight for. That's what this team was striving for, and also building towards a winner. And the question marks always came up like, okay, they won 68 games in the regular season. They've never had the playoff pressure like they're going to have this year, and passed it going away each and every round, including being tested by Denver and also the Indiana Pacers in the finals here. Loved what I saw of this team. And so many times we talk about, man, this team's never going to get over the hump. This could be their last chance. The questions that we'll bring up the rest of the show are, where is that window at? Because it's wide open right now with a young team heading in, still have the no financial constraints where, we can't afford other players or keep this group intact. It'll be interesting to see where they go. But celebration here in an NBA championship for a team that really did it the right way. They did have a couple seasons where, tanking is one of those words where it's like, okay, we don't want to win more than like 9 or 10 games, like the Philadelphia 76ers. But they were tanking all along, but making smart moves, adding draft capital, but making the right selections in the draft and making the right trades here, like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, to add to the team. And as I said, tons of draft picks, tons of capital in the future. Let's see if they even spend it on another veteran player here to bring in and sort of fortify this young team even further. It's a fun team to watch here, and we'll see where that lands in the future. But they're the NBA champions. And by the way, this was no fluke. The expectations were they came out of nowhere. They were the best team all season long, it felt like, in the NBA.
No doubt about it, DRS. One of 4 teams in the history of the association to enter the NBA Finals, already accumulating 80 wins, along with the 2015-16 Golden State Warriors, the 95-96 Bulls, the 96-97 Bulls, and now the 24-25 Oklahoma City Thunder, who end with 84 wins. Again, one of 4 teams in the history of the NBA to ever be able to claim that. And if we go back to the stats, not the most efficient night from the floor for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but 12 dimes, 29 and 12 in a highly important game. The NBA MVP performing as such. Jalen Williams, 20 points. Chet Holmgren, 18-8, and maybe most importantly, a defensive force down low, 5 blocks. That's the young core. That's the young big 3, if you will, in OKC. We'll continue to recap the end of the NBA Finals and hear from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. All of that up next.
On June 25th at 7:30 p.m., ditch the guesswork. Ben Stevens, Kevin Walsh, James Young, and Tom Vecchio have your NBA draft betting coverage pick by pick, bet by bet, all night long. We got all the insights and expert analysis, because betting blind isn't a strategy. Coverage starts at 7:30 p.m. on June 25th, only on SportsGrid.
The Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, who had such a good training camp last year, and it looked like he was pretty good, I believe, in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken, ended up going down for the full year. The Vikings are still obviously committed to him.
They knew that McCarthy was going to be available at some point in June. And McCarthy actually went on record last week and confirmed 2 weeks ago he was cleared medically. He did work last week. And he's going to be their starter.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
I'm with you in that you're going to have to take calculated risks. And that's what Leon Rose has been about since he's been here. And he's been measured. He hasn't been gung-ho in terms of mortgaging this franchise's future for immediate gains. They have had a prudent approach, and you're going to have to roll the dice in certain respects to get to that top level. And you're right, Donnie, when you look at next season, all things considered, you hope that they're healthy, and if they roll over, say, 85 to 90% of this roster, this is a top 3 team in the East. With Boston coming down, Milwaukee is going to come down, and so you have to figure it's going to be Indiana, the Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers in some sort of order in the preseason rankings. And so where they go from here, Jason Kidd is obviously the hot name right now. Things that both sides are interested from what we've heard in terms of Kidd and the New York Knicks. Is he that championship caliber coach to take the Knicks there?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The Oklahoma City Thunder are an NBA champion. For the first time in 17 years in OKC, the Thunder bring home a Larry O'Brien trophy, culminating a historic season for the team, for this franchise, and of course, for the NBA MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who won Finals MVP last night as well. Let's hear from SGA on what it means to bring that Larry O'Brien trophy to Oklahoma City.
Feels amazing. So much weight off my shoulders, so much stress relieved. Like, no matter what, like, you go into every night wanting to win, and sometimes it just doesn't go your way. And tonight could have been one of those nights, but we found a way. I'm so proud of this group. I wouldn't have rather done it with any other group in the world. It feels good to be a champion.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander becomes the 11th player in NBA history to win the regular season MVP award and the Finals MVP award in the same season. And I believe the first to also add in a conference Finals MVP trophy to that mantle as well. Of course, those started just a few years ago. Here's SGA on not just a championship, but a historic season for him and his team.
It's hard to believe that I'm part of that group. It's hard to even fathom that I'm that type of basketball player sometimes. As a kid, you dream, and every kid dreams, but you don't ever really know if it's going to come true. And I'm just glad and happy that my dreams have been able to come true, and that's a thank you to everyone that's been in my corner that's helped me get here. I wouldn't be able to done without them. They know exactly who they are. So yeah, it's a win for the family.
29 points DRS in 12 dimes, a playoff high for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in his career in the all-important game number 7 last night. Of course, won the NBA Finals MVP, the regular season MVP award, led the NBA in scoring, that being the scoring title, and adds an NBA championship to the resume. There are 4 players in NBA history to do that in the same season. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaquille O'Neal, Michael Jordan 4 times, and now Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander bringing up a lot of memories for me, like seeing you finally get to the pinnacle of your sport there. That was me in February of 2018 when the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots. So I feel exactly what he's feeling. Like, you know what? Life doesn't get better than this. MVP awards, real fine. We love that stuff. You had a great regular season. You get to the Western Conference Finals. You get the MVP. You get the championship and the MVP. It's almost like you've sort of arrived here. Now, we all knew he was a great basketball player. He's making tens of millions of dollars. But if you are a professional basketball player, what's the pinnacle if he retires right now? Was an NBA champion and an MVP. I did it all right now, and he's still young in his prime in his career. So many players of his capability would kill to be in that position here and already achieve all your dreams at that young age here, and yet OKC is just at the opening of what they could possibly do. You feel good for those guys because, it's sometimes like, hey, the guy plays it off in the media, not a nice guy. Like, SGA just seems like a great guy, great family guy. Every time the microphone is there, says the right things at all time and building up in OKC to a championship. Man, he is at the pinnacle already of his career. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, DRS, for this young core, you really appreciate what they have done. 2 years ago, they were sub 500, 40-42.
Yep.
Last NBA season, the 1 seed in the Western Conference, but ousted in 6 games in the second round. Our question for Oklahoma City, by far the best team throughout the entirety of the NBA regular season, was what would that playoff experience be like? Would they learn from the lumps of a year ago and then capitalize on this stage and this opportunity? A couple of chinks perhaps in the armor throughout the playoff run, but of course when it mattered most, 2 Game 7s in fact on their home floor, they prevail, they win by double digits. 11-2 straight up at home inside the Paycom Center in this playoff run. 10-3 against the spread, booked as at least a 7-point favorite in all 13 of those home playoff games. The margin at home, by the way, 19.9 points per game, including those 2 tight home losses in OKC. We'll talk about the Thunder, what the future looks like in Oklahoma City, how that future has already been realized by Sam Presti for the NBA's youngest team, and what it means moving forward. But again, DRS, to start our next segment, we'll highlight Indiana, give the Pacers their flowers as well throughout a magical run that came up just short in Game 7. And of course, without their best player, in Tyrese Halliburton, who played through that sprained calf in game number 6. It was questionable if he would even play in that 6th game inside Indianapolis. He does. He excels. He plays in game 7 and gets injured early in the opening quarter. We tie a bow on game 7 in this NBA season on the other side of the break, right here on the early line.
Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
We don't want you playing here. Can you move positions? Do something else. He starts the season like 0 for 150, it felt like, and finally finds himself in a groove at the plate, hitting 272. 15 home runs on the season? Now he's shipped to San Francisco.
What is management going to do? Nobody who's paying you $313.5 million is going to hear anything from you. They'll figure out a way to get rid of you, and that's exactly what they did.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
History immortalized last night in Oklahoma City in a winner-take-all decisive Game 7, just our 5th since 1994 in NBA Finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder win an NBA championship for the first time in 17 years in OKC. We'll talk about what the Thunder accomplished this year in terms of history, what is next for Oklahoma City, because we often, when a team wins a championship, immediately ask, okay, what's next? How many more titles can they win? It seems like a realistic possibility for this Thunder organization. But before all of that, DRS, one more time, a hat tip to the Indiana Pacers, a team we did not expect to be here really at any juncture of this NBA season. Regular season, when they got off to a dismal start in the first half of this year, or even throughout this playoff run. Series underdogs against the Cavaliers, against the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, and of course a hefty underdog in this championship set. Plus 500, minus 700 on the other side for Oklahoma City, the second strongest favorite entering the NBA Finals since 2014 in the association. Our question, DRS, was not could the Pacers play spoiler and win a Larry O'Brien trophy, but would we even see 6 games in this series? We saw 6, and then we saw 7. The Indiana Pacers won 10 games outright, booked as an underdog in this playoff run, tied for the most in a single postseason in NBA history with the Miami Heat of the 2022-23 campaign. And of course, despite the Pacers being gritty last night, it will be remembered with a large what if of what happened in the first quarter with Tyrese Halliburton going down with an apparent Achilles injury.
It would be. And also, what an unbelievable story if it was 103-91, the Indiana Pacers, where Halliburton dropped 29 points in a game number 7 on the road to cement his legacy as one of the better clutch players in NBA history already early in his NBA career. But it wasn't meant to be at that point. And I guess the precedent there is Oklahoma City was the better team. And you're right, Ben. When we lined up this series, we were just hoping, saying, man, you know what? Summer months are coming. Can we just enjoy an extra game? At least give us 5. Boy, if you push it to 6, that would be absolutely amazing. But if we could get a game number 7 on a weekend date, which was Sunday, that we can all watch, that would be great. And again, the only thing that marred it was the injury early to Halliburton, because the what-ifs then start to happen. But also, you can't say to yourself, well, okay, see, there's an asterisk because Tyrese Halliburton was there. No, that's the way sports are. Players get injured. You rise to the occasion. You play games, and you see who that winner and loser is. And the winner clearly was the Oklahoma City Thunder. But it would have been an unbelievable story to say, boy, I can't remember the last time where a team that got so little respect in the regular season as a decent ball club that won 50 games, that was given relatively no chance to get through the Eastern Conference because the Titans, like the Celtics, were there, and the Cavaliers had such a good season, and the ultra-talented Knicks, they were an afterthought. And to be an afterthought and almost win an NBA championship, there's a lot to look forward to. And then you say, hey, we'll be back and ready to go next year. But Tyrese Halliburton won't. So there's so many things to ponder what could have happened. But also, you do want to give props to the Pacers. If anybody would have said to me, forget about the regular season, the moment the playoffs started, hey, by the way, I got a crystal ball. The Pacers are playing for an NBA championship in a game number 7. I said, you are out of your mind. But that's actually what happened.
Yeah, no doubt about it, DRS. A sincere thank you to the Pacers for a great postseason. And now an NBA Finals that we started wondering, all right, would we even see a 5th game, let alone a 6th game? Oh, small market, mid-market teams. Would we even get great finals ratings? And then we got a spoiler in game 1, despite not great television ratings in 7 games, in an NBA Finals in a series we will remember for quite some time. Now let's talk about Oklahoma City. 84 total wins, regular and postseason, DRS. As I mentioned, one of 4 teams to ever pull off that feat in NBA history. The 2015-16 Golden State Warriors, who had 88. The 95-96 Bulls, they had 87 combined. And the 96-97 Bulls, who also had 84. This Oklahoma City team was an NBA favorite throughout a good majority of this season, and they capitalized on that. They made some history along the way as well. So don't just throw in the asterisks because Tyrese Halliburton did go down early in game number 1. As I mentioned, a home point differential on average of 19.9 points per game in their 13, plus 259 in total. That an NBA record. Best turnover differential in a single playoffs. They forced a ton from Indiana last night, plus 131 in total. 19-2 all year long, DRS. Following a loss, they bounced back and did so in a big way. Plus 1247, 1,247 points, the best overall point differential in a single season in NBA history. And again, we anoint a champion and then immediately ask, okay, so what's next? What about next season? This Thunder team was the youngest in the NBA. Look at the ages of their starting lineup last night. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the NBA MVP. He's 26. Lou Dort, the ferocious defender, he's 26. Jalen Williams is only 24. Chet Holmgren is only 23. He had 18 and 8. J-Dub had 20 after a slow start. Isaiah Hartenstein, the big offseason acquisition for the Thunder, is only 27. The oldest guy on the team is Alex Caruso, and he's just 30 years old. And oh, by the way, Sam Presti, the general manager in Oklahoma City, has accumulated 13 first-round picks in the next 7 NBA drafts, including 2 on Wednesday night this week in the 2025 NBA draft. Those 2 picks in the top 24 selections as well. DRS, this Thunder team seems as though they will be here for a long time to come.
Exactly. The only question is going to be is you play in OKC, not the largest market, certainly by any stretch in the NBA. When these guys are young and they're coming up for contract renegotiations in their contract seasons, they are going to get a lot of money, and that's what happens. But you do have those bird rights, as we like to say. If you want to pay that payroll with your current guys, you can keep this team together for a long, long time. But as we saw in the past, the Boston Celtics go, hey, we got a championship here. We have an unbelievably talented team, but a massive high payroll because everybody got paid. The ownership group's like, now's my time to get out at this point. That's the only thing that could be a downfall for OKC. But as we pointed out with that graphic, they're young, they're hungry, they're talented, and we no longer have to say, It's the regular season. I want to see how this team actually provides that strength here in the playoffs as well. They're through that. So if they're the number one seed, Ben, entering into the playoffs next year, we don't even have that question. The expectations would be, yeah, they're going to win it again.
Yep, they're a historic team, DRS. They are a historic franchise now in Oklahoma City with their first NBA championship in 17 years in that city, of course, dating back to their Seattle days in the Northwest. Second ever NBA championship in that franchise. The first since the Supersonics won in 1979. I'm not sure many in Seattle, though, were cheering for Oklahoma City last night. So you have the youngest roster in the NBA, the second youngest ever team to win an NBA championship, all the draft capital they have coming up immediately and over the next 5, 6, and 7 years. We can talk about aprons and all that stuff at a later date for Oklahoma City. Right now, the present is incredibly bright, and the future might seem even brighter. And Donnie, how about these odds to be crowned an NBA championship? The Eastern Conference is going to look wacky to start next season because of the significant injuries. Jason Tatum for the Boston Celtics. Tyrese Halliburton for the Indiana Pacers. The New York Knicks I didn't miss this in Italy, right? They don't even have a new head coach yet. And DRS, the Cleveland Cavaliers, although they are booked as the favorites currently to win the East, they're not going to have Darius Garland for a considerable amount of time in the 25-26 season. So where is Oklahoma City for next year? Expected a repeat and not expected to be all that competitive atop the association. Plus 220. The Cavs are the second best price at 8-1. We'll talk about the Houston Rockets. They are tied with the New York Knicks for the third best number at 9-1 in just a matter of moments.
Yeah, it's pretty funny how it works out. Like the 0-1 Lakers all of a sudden, like, hey, we don't know if they can win a championship. Yeah. Like, oh, yeah, they're going to win the next 3 in a row, and it's not going to be close. But you're right about this. Like the Eastern Conference, where it's like, boy, you are going to get one of those teams, which was either the Cavaliers and or the Celtics. You're talking about 3 all-star level players in the Eastern Conference that probably aren't going to play next year. You know, that's a major advantage for a young and a healthy Oklahoma City team.
Plus 270 for the Cavs as the favorites to win the East. The Knicks just behind at 3-1. We'll talk conference odds all day tomorrow. Let's talk Kevin Durant in Houston up next.
Here we go at Oakmont. Let's start with the course. What do we know about this course? How long is the rough, and does course history come into effect for you this week?
The U.S. Open has always been billed as the most difficult test of golf there is on the planet. And I tell you what, it's often labeled as the most difficult golf course in the world is Oakmont.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
We don't want you playing here. Can you move positions? Do something else. He starts the season like 0 for 150, it felt like, and finally finds himself in a groove at the plate, hitting 272. 15 home runs on the season? Now he's shipped to San Francisco.
What is management going to do? Nobody who's paying you $313.5 million is going to hear anything from you. They'll figure out a way to get rid of you, and that's exactly what they did.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Every 5 days, it's really exciting when Skeens pitches, and it's terrible watching him pitch because every time he pitches, they don't score.
Having him hit the lineup probably would actually help when he pitches. There's no way to do it because you can't, but yeah, it's beyond frustrating. And the numbers will tell you, the books have adjusted.
Pharrell coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Dialing it back to his old days with St. Louis and Arizona. Buy or sell, Goldie will finish top 7 in fantasy first baseman.
No, I'm going to say no. I think he'll fall off. Older player here, he'll be top 10, but not top 7 here. Top 10, I would say I'd buy it. Top 7, I'm going to say no here. I think he'll put up decent numbers here. Not as good as he was. I don't think he's going to bat 340, 350 all year long.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
A Sunday for Game 7 in the NBA. The end of the NBA season in 2024-25. Of course, many fans around the association look forward to the summer. And this week in the offseason, we've got the 2025 NBA Draft, round 1 on Wednesday night, round number 2 on Thursday, the Cooper Flag coronation as we expect on Wednesday with the Dallas Mavericks picking first overall. But of course, DRS, in the summer, it's free agency and it's notable blockbuster deals. So on the day of Game 7 to end out one NBA year, a seismic shift in the future landscape we expect in the association starting next season. We knew Kevin Durant would be dealt, but to who and exactly when? Those were the questions we learned yesterday afternoon. Kevin Durant traded by the Phoenix Suns to the Houston Rockets. In return, the Suns receive Jalen Green, the second overall pick back in 2021 after 4 years of service in H-Town. Dylan Brooks, the 10th overall pick on Wednesday night. Houston will make that pick for Phoenix, by the way, and 5 second-round selections as well in the years to come. Kevin Durant, at the age of 36 years old, after 17 seasons that he has played in the NBA, DRS, is now on his way to H-Town. He is the newest member of the Houston Rockets.
It'll be interesting, no doubt about it, and I guess this figures they think this is the missing piece where they can make a run at a championship when Kevin Durant certainly got Golden State, was a nice piece for a championship to an organization already used to championships, and he goes, Golden State, they wouldn't win anything without me, and then goes, I'll just do it in Brooklyn. Couldn't do it there. Get me out of Brooklyn. Get me to Phoenix. I'll do it there with my guy Booker, and we'll meet up. We'll have our own big three out here. That didn't work as well. So now a veteran coming in who wants the ball each and every time down the court. He's got a lot of guys here that he's going to have to sort of teach on the fly, which I don't think it's a great move. I wanted him to go to a ready-made championship team full of a veteran roster and see if he can ring chase that way. Not to go to an organization on the come-up that if you just stay the course, and also, what better blueprint do we have than just staying the course than OKC, right? Build young. Build talented. Get a coach that's going to maximize that. Get a good general manager that's going to have a lot of ammunition here. And Houston's like, hey, you know what? We're following that sort of game plan here, but now we're just going to accelerate the process. And it's like, hey, man, had to make this move. KD's 31. We'll have it for 5 or 6 years. We don't even know what KD we're getting next year. He was good this year. Don't get me wrong. But I just see this move as this, like, for me, this doesn't make a move that sounds like, you know what? This is the final piece to the puzzle and Houston wins it. It sounds like Houston's like, yeah, this will be fun. And I don't think it's going to work out, but it was fun. Like, no, you had a team that was on the rise. What's the deal here in Houston? I hate this move.
Yeah, DRS, it's interesting, right? Kevin Durant has been traded in so many blockbuster deals the last few years in the NBA, to the Warriors, to the Nets, to the Suns, and now to the Rockets. Does it lose a little bit of its luster for a guy that will turn 37 in September before the next NBA campaign gets started? He has played 17 NBA seasons. Technically, he has been in the NBA for 18 years. Of course, sat out 2019-20 after tearing his Achilles for the Warriors, of course, in the NBA Finals to end out 2019. He has still been an all-star all 15 years following his second year in the association. Last season in Phoenix, he averaged 26.6 points per game. He has still been averaging 26 points per game in each of the last 7 years that he has played since 2017-18, even at this older age and his veteran status, if you will. The easy money sniper continues to get it done offensively. I do think it's interesting, right? I kind of agree with you. The Rockets were the 2 seed in the Western Conference, 52-30 throughout this regular season in 24-25. They were like your playoff team to start the Rockets referendum. Could the 2 seed, not booked as a favorite against the 7 seed in the opening round with home floor advantage, even stand the test of time? They played 7 games against Golden State, ultimately coming out on the losing end. Clearly in Houston, though, they think Kevin Durant, even at 37, in disposing of Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, that pair him alongside Alperen Şengün and Amen Thompson, they have a team tailor-made and ready-made at this moment to win an NBA championship. And the odds makers kind of agree. Again, there's a large disparity, a large distinction from the Thunder and all 29 other teams in the NBA, and that includes the Houston Rockets at a 9-1 price. But Houston DRS does have the second best number out of any team from the Western Conference, only behind the Thunder.
But also understand this, which I agree with. Like, in the immediate short term, the Houston Rockets are a better team than where they were, let's just say, yesterday before we heard the trade went down. But the question is, what is your window? What is that swing that you want? Is it all right? We're young right now. We have a 6, 7, 8-year window where we can really put things together, maybe make a run and win at least one NBA championship. You now go, okay, our window is 2 years now? Because once Kevin Durant is old, and granted, you're going to pay a lot of money in that extension for him as well, what's the future? Now, Griffin, Reed Shepard turned out to be a great player. That guy was nailed to the bench last year. Amen Thompson, I like what I see. Şengün's a very good player. Fred VanVleet, only 31 years old. When I say only, that means he's still going to be in the midst of his prime. But once Kevin Durant starts to age out, and if he gets injured, you're done as a franchise. Like, that's it. So the expectations now have ramped up to Houston, and Ime Udoka's like, we have to get a championship in the next 2 years. And I'm telling you right now, they're not getting a championship in the next 2 years. So I'm not saying it's a failure, because unless we're just in the time of championship or bust, which I always like to view things as, will they be competitive?
Yeah.
Yes. But I just thought you saw what OKC did and said, we're on that Mira train. Good head coach, can stick with the franchise for a long time. Good young talented core. Add on as we go with players alike, like, 22, 23, 24, 25 years old, and you ramp it up and go late 30s and go, okay, we're going to take down what OKC is in the midst maybe of their own dynasty at this point in the same conference.
DRS, we saw some reshuffling in the last year and a half, perhaps, in the NBA, but certainly in the Western Conference, of the teams that were favored to win a championship or a conference crown as well. And it almost kind of seemed like the Houston Rockets were on that ascending path through a young core. Yeah. Listen, I'm not in the NBA weeds enough as a talent evaluator to truly understand the consensus around Jalen Green. He averaged 21 points per game this past year in his 4th season in the NBA. I kind of thought he was on the come up. I kind of get the feeling that reading things yesterday, people think overall he has a pretty capped ceiling and is maybe not that guy to lead a franchise. We'll see what this means for Phoenix. Again, the Rockets did open up with a 15-1 price to win the NBA championship last week. They're now 9-1. Kevin Durant, a market mover still, with at least $6. It's NBA Draft Week, Wednesday, next.
Their team total is 19.5 wins. I told you to go under, and it's by far the best bet I have recommended on this network in 4 years. They can't get out of their own way. And now Sloot is out for the year. Let's hope Sloot gets back, because I respect the hell out of Sloot, and I want her to go out on her own terms. Hopefully we'll have her back for the 26th season.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I got a feeling
Finally.
Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
A big week in the NBA. You might be saying, what? The season just ended last night. The Oklahoma City Thunder won an NBA championship. It's the offseason. It's the summer. What do you mean? It's NBA draft week. Round number 1 from Brooklyn inside the Barclays Center on Wednesday night. But DRS, of course, the summer filled with all of its drama around the association. Truly starting yesterday as Kevin Durant was traded by the Phoenix Suns to the Houston Rockets. You have one final point to make about that KD deal. What is it?
If this had taken place in the NBA, it would be a $50 million fine and maybe expulsion from the NBA as a team for either Phoenix and or Houston for game number 7 to drop a trade down during that day when all the eyes and focus and attention are supposed to be on that game. And also, somebody help me with this. How is it possible that we can have a trade in the NBA playoff season / NBA finals, which we saw Bane, the previous week as well. But yet when we get to the NBA draft, we're not allowed to announce any trades while the draft is actually going on, where guys have to put on hats with teams they won't even go to and just make it convoluted. How can you not have a season finish and blockbuster trades are already going down? Like, what would happen here? Correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, 2 years right now, right? SGA is unhappy with OKC. They're in the middle of the NBA Finals. They go, SGA just got moved to the Lakers, but he is going to play the remaining parts of the finals here, and then he'll be a Laker once the season is over and he's done in the NBA Finals. How could a league do this? I don't even know it was possible to make trades in the playoffs and the NBA Finals, and also Game 7, all the build up there. Let's go, take this over, because theoretically, it felt like the Durant move was the bigger trade deal than actually watching the NBA Finals, which I guess if you turn on probably other networks, hey, by the way, blah, 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 yeah, OKC won. Let's get to the hot news here. Kevin Durant trade. He's going to Houston. That's feel like, why would the NBA allow this?
Not us. We lead with Oklahoma City prevailing as an NBA champion and immortalizing their historic season and giving its due to the Indiana Pacers as well. I don't know. Frankly, DRS, the trade does not become official until July 6th as well. Free agency starts before then, I believe, around July 4th each and every year. But because the trade does not become official, the Rockets now have, or the Suns, now have the Rockets' 10th overall pick as a part of this Kevin Durant trade. But Houston, because the trade is not official, will make the pick
what is that?
For Phoenix. So Matt Ishbia and Brian Gregory are like, hey, man, that guy. No, who did you just take? What? I don't know exactly how that's all going to play out. But good. I think, DRS, you said NBA. You meant like in the NFL, right? Like Roger Goodell would never allow a quarterback to be traded during Super Bowl week. We do see trade requests. And I get it.
There's like on game 7, like you usurp the biggest moment in the NBA by dropping trade news that can't even be valid for weeks and weeks on end at this point right now. I understand the business market and the things that happen, but you've got to be kidding. Like the optics were like, we expect to trade for Kevin Durant over the next 2 to 3 days. So the perfect thing, like, look, the NBA is going to hold this tight lip. They're going to release this on Tuesday. They're going to let the NBA championship on Sunday have their day, and also on a Monday, let it breathe and celebrate OKC. Then we move into the all season. Then we get into the trades and the draft there, of closely on Wednesday night. I just can't believe as a business they would let that go down that way. That was embarrassing for the league to me. It really was.
Commissioner Silver allowed it. Commissioner Rightside would rule with an iron fist. That would never fly in his reign. That is for sure. And DRS, it probably would have built some more optimism for the NBA draft, which is on Wednesday. A very tight turnaround from the end of an NBA season. Looking forward to another one, and of course, beyond in the future in the association. It will be incredibly impactful, of course, this Kevin Durant deal already happening. Again, the Suns now have the 10th pick. They've got Devin Booker. They've got Jalen Green. They've got Dylan Brooks. They've got Bradley Beal. They have so many guards, I don't even know what they're going to do there in the Valley. And the Rockets, of course, because the trade is not official, will be selecting 10th for whatever Phoenix desires. Here is the entirety of that round 1 draft board around the association. The lottery being the top 14, of course, the most impactful that we see. In Dallas, we'll be selecting first overall. We understand it is going to be the Cooper Flag coronation come Wednesday night in Brooklyn. He is a minus 100,000 favorite to go first overall. The San Antonio Spurs, minus 9,000 to select Dylan Harper. But DRS, as we'll discuss on the other side of the break, It's that other guy from your family, your religion, in Rutgers basketball, Ace Bailey, that might be the market and draft order mover as we get ready for round number 1 on Wednesday. The NBA draft through the odds in the order that you will see when hour number 2 begins. Up next on TEL.